Are you ready for Q4? We're going to go over 6 tips that you need to know so that you are ready to make lots of money in your Etsy shop this Q4. And before we jump into those 7 tips, let me just get you excited by sharing with you what my results were last Q4. Things really got cooking by the first week of November. $7,799 profit that first week in November. But the week that was the icing on the cake was the week of November 28th, which would have been the week that we would have had Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I topped out there with my biggest week. My earnings were profit $11,885. And sales were good all the way through the second week of December. December 12th, $8,389 profit for that week. Now, don't get me wrong, things do slow down, and I only had a profit of $409 the week of December 27th. But it just goes to show you that if you prepare correctly, you can have a really powerful Q4. Tip number 1 is to make sure that you have a way to cover all of those holiday orders that are going to be coming in. So remember, your customer comes onto Etsy. They purchase from your listing. Etsy collects that money on your behalf. Once a week, they pay you. You can request that payment early. It is possible to wind up on payment reserves where they don't give you the full amount every week, and there's a period of time that you have to wait for it. And that can happen if you have a very quick sales velocity that shoots up very quickly. That never happened to me, but I have heard people expressing that that has happened to them. So you just want to have this in mind. It would be a great thing for your business to grow very quickly, but just have it in mind of how you're going to handle that. I use credit cards with my print providers so that I can also rack up rewards for those orders. So not only am I making profit with my Etsy shop on each purchase that is made, I am also getting a percentage back on each purchase and racking up credit card rewards. If you are unable to have a credit card, don't worry. Just make sure that you're saving up and you're putting some money aside. If your shop does have a very fast sales velocity and you wind up getting a lot of sales, that would be wonderful. And hopefully you'd be able to figure out a way to make it happen. But you always can put your shop on vacation mode or raise your prices to slow down your sales velocity just in case you need to. I'll quickly share with you the cards that I like to use and have curated for myself, and I'll leave links to all of them down below. I very intentionally chose the credit cards that I did because they gave me the most bang for my buck with the spending category that our print providers would fall under, and or had a signing up bonus that just made the most sense for me. And just to give you an idea of what is possible, I made just under right around $10,000 of extra money on my credit cards just by letting those orders pass through those credit cards. So the last time I shared something like this, I had someone actually go down into my comments and say something that wasn't nice and just say I was trying to sell luxury or something. So just to be clear, this wasn't my first year on Etsy, but it was my third. And I couldn't be more honest with you. Like, that's really, by my third year on Etsy, I was able to build this business. I'm coming from the background of a school teacher, not a business girl. I didn't go to school for business. I was just able to follow YouTubers' directions and build this business for myself. So if I can do this, you can do this too. The first card I'll share with you is a business account, and a lot of times those can bring some really nice rewards. If you use the link down in the description, you're going to be directed right here. And you're going to see a couple of different cards that you can choose from. The one that I have is the Chase Ink Business Unlimited, and you get 1.5% cash back in the spending category that we are spending with our print-on-demand shop, so you will get that on there. No annual fee. The Chase Ink Business Premier card looks fantastic also. It does have an annual fee, though, $195. So it just kind of depends on where you are with your journey in business. Because with the Business Premier card, you get $1,000 bonus cash back, which is great. And you have to spend, though, $10,000 in the first 3 months of opening it, which is not hard to do if you already have your business going. But maybe that's not for you. At the time I opened, this one made more sense. At the time I opened this card, it made more sense for me to do this one. And I get 1.5% cash back, and I got a $750 bonus cash back when I opened it if I spent $6,000 on purchases in the first 3 months. So you can kind of look through and see which one works best for you. With this one, don't get too excited with the 5% cash back. That's in select categories, and it doesn't usually include our print-on-demand companies. So you won't most likely be getting the 5% back with your purchases for your print-on-demand companies. FYI, you do not have to have an LLC to open a business credit card. You can open it as a sole proprietor, which a lot of us would fall under with our Etsy shops. The next card I love is the Venture card. What I like to do is have one credit card for Printful, which is a print provider I rely on heavily, and I use a different credit card for Printify, which is another print provider I rely on heavily. My Venture card is attached with my Printify, and I just kind of like to keep it separate just so I could see what's going on and how much I'm spending through each of the print providers. If you use this link, you're going to have access to the $250 travel credit plus a 75,000 bonus miles. And what that actually winds up being, you'll enjoy the $250 and then plus you'll earn 75,000 bonus miles. Now, the 75,000 bonus miles when you spend $4,000 on purchases the first 3 months. 75,000 bonus miles can be worth different amounts depending on how you use them. But if you use them to cover your travel purchases like Airbnbs and flights and that kind of stuff, it winds up being $750. And that's how I use my points with Venture because I like to travel, so this card works out well for me. If you use it in another way, it might be worth less. So you really get compensated well if you're using them to cover your travel purchases, which really makes the signing bonus here $750, $850, $950, $1,000. So, and it does come with that annual fee of $95. Another card I love is the Discover It card, and I'll leave a link to that one down below. If you use that link, you'll get $100 right off the bat. And so will I. I'll actually get that for the first 5 people that sign up through that card, but I believe it's good for you no matter when you come through to sign up for it. I think you'll still get that $100. And then once you have that card, if you love it, you can get your own referral link and you can send it to your friends. You'll get $100 and so will they. The Discover It card is awesome because you get 1% back on everything, so that's not as good as the other cards I just mentioned, but the whole first year you get 2% back. In the spending category of our print shops, you would be getting 2%. I do like to use that card for personal use because there's certain categories, every 3 months they change, and you get 5% back, which is pretty great. So like certain months you get 5% back on gas stations, and other months you get 5% back on grocery stores, and usually during the Christmas holiday season you get 5% back on your purchases with Amazon, which works out good for me. I'm also leaving a link to the Saver card down there because that's one I regularly use. You get 3% back, but not on your print-on-demand partner purchases. You get that back on things like dining, entertainment, popular streaming services, and grocery stores. And the other card I use is the Wells Fargo 2% cashback card. So I get 2% back on that. I also have their autograph card. So while I'm taping this, it's August. So this brings us to tip number 2. You need to list early for Q4. I started listing for Christmas in July. It's certainly not too late now. In August, you've got plenty of time. Start getting your listings out there. I'm still listing for Halloween. I'm listing for Thanksgiving, and I'm listing for Christmas. So there's a couple of reasons you want to get your listings out there early. First, I just mentioned all of these big holidays, right? You need time to make all of these types of designs. New Year's also within that Q4 listing time frame. You have shoppers that are coming early and they're already purchasing. I've sold Christmas stuff every single month of the year, but kind of regularly picking up in July. And even more so now, every other day I'm selling something Christmas related. So you want to cash in as this traffic starts moving upward on Etsy. You want to have your listings there to start getting those views and that interaction. And the other reason you really want to list this early is because of SEO and visibility. Etsy's search algorithm takes time to recognize your new listing. By listing it early, your products have more time to gain traction, accumulate reviews, have good interactions with the customers. That's going to improve your listing's ranking. It's also going to allow you to double down on what is working. I'll leave a video linked here about what doubling down means and what that is and how to do it. And I'll also leave it linked down in the description. But by starting your listings in July and August, by October, you're already getting some traction and some feedback through the views and hopefully purchases that you start getting in your shop. And then you could start to double down, and that's where magic happens. And double down just means doing more of what is already working. If you sold a teacher third grade Christmas shirt, now you know to make more teacher third grade Christmas shirts. Again, that totally free video resource that I will leave linked will go into great depth on that. And just to really drive this point home, every Christmas season, it is not the first designs that I put out that make me the most money. It's the ones that I'm putting out closer and closer to Black Friday. And that is when you should list till. Black Friday, Cyber Day, Monday, weekend. You should list your Christmas designs all the way up until that weekend. And I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, but oh, Shauna, if your designs that go out at that weekend, if those are the designs that make you the most money, well, then I'll just wait and I'll put all of my designs in that weekend, and that would be a really good strategy, right? No. One of the reasons those designs always make me the most money, one, I'm working my way in the algorithm. I've been working and hustling for the last 6 months, July through Cyber Day, or maybe 5 months, July through November, to get into that algorithm. I am earning the respect of the Etsy algorithm of going, oh, okay, this shop is consistently putting stuff out in this niche. And with this type of SEO, they must know a thing or two about this. You're accumulating all of the interactions that are happening with those listings, which is Etsy's looking at that as a signal like, oh, well, maybe we should put this person's stuff out a little bit more, this shop's stuff out a little bit more. And then the real magic, you've been doubling down. You're going into Etsy, hopefully, for at least 15 minutes every day, and you're looking at all the best sellers. Your finger is on the pulse of this niche, and your designs are getting better and better for a solid 5 months. Your designs are getting better and better and better. Your finger is more and more on that pulse, and you're noticing new elements coming up, and you're getting better with your designs, and customers might be reaching out to you and asking you for a variation, which now you're listing. All of this is making you a much more skilled designer. And that is also why those designs toward the end have a better chance of doing well. There's no skipping that hard work part. There's no skipping the consistent part. There's no hack of like, oh, I'm just going to list that one weekend and then I get this. No, it all works together in this beautiful way where people who are working hard consistently over time are rewarded. If all your hard work hasn't paid off quite yet, maybe you just haven't quite developed that skill of making the types of designs that people really want to buy, or maybe you haven't figured out just yet how to niche down and really be thinking about the customer that's going to be purchasing. If you do need some help with this, I did put a resource together to help you identify the different kinds of customers that are coming to Etsy, the different kinds of products that would be great for you to have in your shop, and the different angles that you can take, or the different kind of sub-niches within Christmas that you can attack. I will leave a link to this resource down below. I was so happy to receive this comment from Maltese Bubblegum. She said, I just bought your calendar and I am so excited to use it as my guide. Sometimes you just need that extra help instead of feeling overwhelmed and lost. And that's exactly what a good resource should help you to feel. I was so pleased also with this comment. Going to get your new calendar. I already have the Q4 and teacher one. It helped me get a bestseller this Q4. Thank you for everything you do. And she was going to go pick up that general niche calendar, which I'll also leave linked down below, but the Q4 one is probably the one that would be most helpful right about now. And Cindy always has something nice to say down in the comments. Thank you for the Q4 update. I hope everyone is buying that. It more than pays for itself if you're doing Christmas designs. I did just update the whole resource and added some more information to it, added a section in there specifically for ornaments and some places where I saw some potential high search volume but low competition areas. So if you do decide that is a resource you want to pick up, it is the updated version that you'll be downloading. Tip number 3 for a fantastic Q4, make sure you have a backup print provider. I use both Printify and Printful. And if one of my print providers runs out of inventory in a certain color or in a certain product, I'm able to kind of switch over for most of these things and find that product with the other print provider. That has gotten me out of a stressful little situation on more than one occasion. Something I mentioned earlier, but worth giving it its own number for tips. Double down on anything that is working. Again, I will leave this totally free video resource linked here and down below. If you sold teacher shirts this year, make Christmas teacher shirts. If you sold a funny chicken shirt, put that chicken in Christmas lights and make chicken Christmas shirts. Start listing for these Q4 niches, including Christmas in July and August. And as we get closer to each of the holidays, just keep doubling down on anything that is getting traction. Tip number 5 is going to be double down again. If you've been in this for a while and you were selling last Christmas, double down on anything that sold last Christmas. Take a look, what sold, start getting some listings out there in those niches again. Moving out of Christmas and after Q4, any sub niche that you got traction, if you had a shirt with a cat on it and it was a cat Christmas shirt, start listing in the cat niche when we get out into January. So all of this doubling down, there's so many ways to do it, but it is such an effective strategy for building that raging fire in your shop and really getting the momentum going in your shop. Tip number 6 is consider doing family shirts for Christmas. If this is something that intimidates you, just hear me out for just a minute. Now, I do want to address a couple things with the family niche. First, let's take a look at OctaKid's comment here. Hi, Shauna, I'm using your Q4 resources. I really love it and truly appreciate the details you put together in it. I'm currently trying to prepare for the Q4 family matching shirts. Just wondered, do you offer sizes for toddlers, kids, and also for adult children? Or are you targeting only families with young children, like toddlers or kids? Which one is more profitable? Is it okay to share? Yes, absolutely, OctaKids. I'm going to tell you the answer right now. This is my first time listing family matching items on Etsy, so I'd appreciate some guidance from you. Thanks. I definitely like to target both. You will find in the same listing one that you even thought would be more for a mom and a dad, the two parents, and a couple of kids. They'll order all adult size shirts. It will happen more often than you thought it would. It certainly did for me. But do offer the kid sizes in there. I only offer one color usually, and it's usually black or white, because that way the colors match across the onesies, the toddler shirts, the youth sizes, and the adult shirts. I also usually put baby shirts in there also. When I have different phrases available in the drop-down menu for this, I personally like to fulfill this type of listing through Printful because it's easier for me to sync as I go and I don't have to deal with bringing SKU numbers over. I won't go into great depth on that now. That would be a totally different video, but just to kind of throw that out at you, that's how I do it. You will find mock-ups with pajama bottoms that do really well. And you can totally use those in your listing, but do make sure you make it very clear to your customer that they're not also getting the pajama bottoms. They will not be happy. Take it from me, you'll wind up refunding people because they'll be very upset that they didn't get the pajama bottoms. Make it clear in your description and make it clear in your photo cards too. If you do use the word pajamas in your SEO or your tags, do not have children's sizes available. There are special rules when you're selling children's items on Etsy, and you could get yourself in a little bit of hot water and your listing taken down. So to avoid your listing being taken down, especially since it might get traction and start selling, you will not want to have children's sizes in any listing that says pajamas or PJs in them. If you're a little nervous to get into selling group shirts or family shirts that have different phrases available, then try just doing maybe a design where you're adding their name to it. And so everybody would wind up with the same design. But I do encourage you to give it a try this year. If there is any part of you that is thinking you are feeling frustrated or you might not hustle for this Q4, I want to leave this quote with you. Entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. You've got this. Let's make this the best Q4 yet. I will catch you in this video if you want to know more about how to do group listings, because I'm definitely encouraging you to get into that. And I will also leave that link down below if you are interested in doubling down, which is the magical way of how we get momentum going in our shops. But don't go watch one of those until that tip from Tucker. Tucker, take it away.